The Chronos Archives, The Architects of Time. Act 1, The Emperor's Nightmare. Our journey begins with one of the most documented yet mysterious nights in history. The year is 1799. Napoleon Bonaparte is on his Egyptian campaign. He stands before the Great Pyramid of Giza. Intrigued by the legends of the pharaohs, he requests to be left alone inside the king's chamber. He enters as a conqueror. Hours pass in deathly silence. When he finally emerges at dawn, he is changed. Eyewitness accounts from his generals state that Napoleon was pale, shaking, and bathed in a cold sweat. When asked what he saw, he replied, "Even if I told you, you would not believe me." He never spoke of it again. Historians call it a hallucination caused by the heat and lack of oxygen. But recently uncovered documents from the private collection of Lieutenant Pierre Bouchard, the man who discovered the Rosetta Stone, tell a different story, a story of discovery and theft. According to the diary, Napoleon didn't just sit in the dark. He found something. Hidden beneath the floor stones of the king's chamber, there was a cavity. Inside, resting on a bed of dust, was an object, not gold, not jewels, but a smooth black prism, cold to the touch, heavier than lead. Bouchard writes, "The general held a stone that seemed to drink the light of the torch. It hummed, a sound not of this earth." This was the first key, the power source. Napoleon realized this was no mere treasure. It was a map. Etched microscopically onto the black surface were not hieroglyphs, but coordinates. Coordinates that pointed northwest, away from Egypt, toward the Aegean Sea. Napoleon knew he couldn't keep it. The British were closing in. He needed to move the artifact to a safe location identified by the coordinates. He entrusted the prism to a secret courier vessel, a ship that would officially sink in a storm, disappearing from naval records forever. AC-2, the impossible engine, unexplained technology, fast forward 100 years, 1901. A group of sponge divers take shelter from a storm off the coast of a small Greek island, Antikythera. Diving deep, they stumble upon a wreck. They find statues, coins, and jewelry. But amidst the rubble, they find a lump of corroded bronze and wood. We know it today as the Antikythera mechanism. Mainstream science calls it an ancient astronomical calculator, a device used to track the cycles of the moon and the sun. But think about it. Why would a civilization that barely had watermills create a system of differential gears that Europe wouldn't reinvent until the 18th century? The Chronos Archives suggests a different purpose. Look closely at the scans. In the center of the mechanism, there is a missing slot, a void exactly the size of Napoleon's black prism. This wasn't a calculator, it was a control panel, an engine. The coordinates on Napoleon's prism didn't just point to a location, they pointed to the rest of the machine. The shipwreck wasn't a Roman trade vessel. It was the courier ship carrying the prism to reunite it with the mechanism. But the ship went down. The pieces were separated. The battery was lost in the sand. The engine was lost in the sea. But there is a third piece, the piece that directs the energy, the lens. Act 3, The Vanishing, Unsolved Mysteries. Narrator: to find the final piece, we must travel back in time and across the ocean. 1587, Roanoke Island, the New World. John White establishes the first English colony. 115 men, women, and children. He leaves for supplies and returns 3 years later in 1590. What he found haunts us to this day. The village was deserted. There were no bodies, no signs of a struggle, no blood, no fire. It was as if 115 people had simply evaporated. The only clue was a single word carved into a wooden post: Croatoan. Historians say Croatoan was the name of a nearby Native American tribe. They say the settlers moved there, but no trace of them was ever found among the tribes. DNA evidence remains inconclusive. What if Croatoan wasn't a name? What if it was a code or a setting? In the Chronos theory, the settlers of Roanoke possessed the third artifact, the lens, a crystalline device found in the New World, capable of focusing the energy of the prism. Starving, desperate, and abandoned, they didn't try to move to a nearby island. They tried to escape, not across space, but across time. They activated the lens, but without the precise control of the Antikythera engine, and without the stable power of the prism, the jump was unstable. Did they land in the future, or were they scattered into the void between seconds? The pieces remain the prism, the engine, the lens, 3 parts of a machine built by architects unknown to history. Napoleon held the power, the Greeks held the control, the lost colony held the key. The pieces are still out there, hidden in museum basements, buried under the sea, waiting in the dust. We assume history is finished, written, but the truth is, pause, dramatic whisper, we haven't even started reading.